Hello everybody, welcome Jordan Show and Beautiful Life. Today we invited a very special guest. She comes from Beverly Hills and Hollywood. People call her Godmother of Design. Hello, Sandra Costa.
How are you today?
Welcome to our show.
So lovely to see you.
I know you are very active in the United States in the media circle. You go to the ABC and like CBS and a lot of magazine, newspaper interview. Why people call you Godmother of the Design?
Well, I would tend to say that the reason behind that is because I have a true passion for what I'm doing. Regardless of whether it's from the structure all the way to the finishing touches, whether it's a building, an interior, all the way to having the party. I just love it all, Joey, and I think my clients recognize that in me.
So, okay, you have the strong character.
I do.
Lots of media people interested in you, you want to interview, okay,
Yeah.
like we are
Yes.
today, okay. When you began your career of design, I know you are a lot born in the United States. So where were you born first?
Well, actually, may I start by saying that I started my career probably when I was about 4 years old. Oh.
Okay, I know you were born in the New Zealand, right?
Well, actually, I wasn't. I was actually born in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yes, and I was from an American father and a New Zealand Kiwi mother.
Okay.
But I was only about, I think, maybe 7 or 8 months old. So if it had been 7 or 8 months earlier, I would have been born in New Zealand. But it so happened I was born in the United States. But that worked very well for me because after I'd done all my schooling in New Zealand, I was able to just come to the United States because I was carrying an American passport.
Okay, I know your family, like you told me before we came to here, you told me your mother is a businesswoman
Yes.
and your father is
Yes.
a real estate businessman.
Yes.
So, kind of like I heard of that when you were a child, you started like an artist.
I did.
Who really influenced you to do this?
My mother.
Your mother. So your mother, not a really
Amazing
business
woman.
but he still do artist something influence teach
Well, she
you
was
to
a
do that?
fashion designer
Oh, that's why.
and a bridal designer. And then from
So
there...
your mother is a designer of the fashion.
Design and businesswoman because she had 48 retail stores. But from a little girl like this, I was being brought up where my mother would have the patterns out and the fabrics and the coordination. And she always taught me less is more. You know, keep it simple, keep it classic. And even today, I've got some beautiful patterns of my mother's clothing that she made, Joey, possibly 40, 50 years ago. And I've got those garments out of beautiful New Zealand wool in my own wardrobe today and wear them.
Which one is your most beautiful design?
Do you know, I've actually had some wonderful opportunities for private clients that have offered me the opportunity to come in here and to design very interesting structures. And I think that one of the most fabulous ones that has really touched my heart is that my client, Mrs. Lily Chow, an absolutely beautiful, elegant woman from Shanghai.
She's Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
From Shanghai.
Shanghai mainland.
She offered me, she said to me, Miss Costa, and I would like for you to be the building designer for our family mausoleum in the mountains of Wuxi, Shanghai. Now, for an American woman, although I was born here, I was born here and raised in New Zealand. This to me was an incredible project because I wasn't familiar with mausoleums. And I told her that. I said, Mrs. Chow, I said, you know, you're choosing me, but it's not my forte. And she said to me, Miss Costa, I've got no doubt about you. And she gave me this job.
Good.
And I did it. And I did this 15 years ago. And only just recently, Joey, about 2 or 3 months ago, I heard from Mrs. Chow, secretary, and who said Mrs. Chow sends her best, and would you please send the original plans? So I sent them to her all this time because I wasn't hired to build it. That wasn't my job. My job was to design it.
Okay, Sandra, I know that. I heard of it when I was young. I heard of the construction, building. The people call the construction is side of the music. How you understand this? How you view of this quotes? How you see the construction or design? How you, as the designer, world-class designer, how you give the comments about this side of the music?
You know, it's interesting.
You like
say
music?
The structure of design. I like that a lot. Because when people ask me what's different about your work, my entire life I've said it's the music in my work. And then you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, it's because I have rhythm, I have rhyme, I have harmony, I have balance, I have yin, I have yang, all in my work. It's like a song. It's like the structure. You can hear immediately when somebody's out of tune or out of key. You can see that in the design as well. You know, and the music in my work comes through because although I do very classic work, there's a rhythm through it that you can see it laced through. I'm very proud of that. So when you say the structure is the music, I understand that absolutely, I understand that. Yeah. I like
Okay,
that.
so when you do that, you always put all the art, kind of the arts together, so you can make their most beautiful design for clients. Okay, a little bit introduce yourself to when did you start your career, the design? Like you told me, you came to here, United States at 18.
Yes.
So when you started, did you start your job?
Well, when I first came to the United States, I came here actually to visit family members who all lived in New York and Rhode Island. So I spent a couple of years actually just getting to know my American family. After all, I'd been raised in New Zealand. And I had I got to know my father, my birth father, who I hadn't seen since I was little, and it was lovely to meet with all the family and the cousins and the aunties. And then from there, I decided that it was time for me to leave, and I went to Florida, and I spent some time in Florida. And then I traveled. I was traveling for the first couple of years. And then I came to Los Angeles.
Okay, Los Angeles.
And from Los Angeles, I was actually introduced to Ian Phillips. And Ian Phillips was a very famous designer, interior designer. And he and his wife took a liking to me. And I studied. And before you know it, I was working in their company. And I went on to, I'm a fully licensed interior designer, certified designer, general contractor, and it's been a wonderful career for me, and it still is.
Okay, here is when you talk, according to your talk, you always mention that music. Making me remember that Germany philosopher Nietzsche said, if without the music in our life, I cannot imagine. That's Nietzsche in the 14th something century. 15th century, Nietzsche, very great the philosophy.
Yeah.
So you always mention your music in your family, like your two sons is a music producer, even your father, mother, when you were young, you're an artist. So who really influenced your music? Like some friends or?
No, I was born with it. I was born with rhythm, and I was
Very
born with
rhythm.
vision.
Okay, you have the rhythm.
And vision. Vision and rhythm, it's all just part of who
You
I
have
am.
some friends, so you made some friends with a musician or somebody is a musician, your friend?
Well, my father.
Your father is a musician.
My father was a great
Good.
jazz pianist. Apart from being in real estate, he was jazz pianist. Both my sons are in music. My former husband, Tony Costa.
Your former husband, Tony Costa, is a very...
He played Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, some of the jazz greats. Yeah, he was a wonderful writer and arranger. Yeah.
Oh, according to your talking, I feel all your design very classic,
Yes.
very elegant.
Yes.
That's your style.
Yes.
I think a different designer have their own style,
Yes,
right? If you lose your character, your style, how people call you designer, right?
Right.
You have to follow that robot,
Yeah, right.
like that. Your design style is just classic and a little bit traditional, and the
Timeless.
and the
Timeless.
elegant. So you put your style like there's some modern or new thing.
I'd like to say that my work spans everywhere from historical work all the way up to contemporary work. I do have a natural way of being able to capture the past and to be able to see the future. So my work, most importantly though, is solid. Just like the solidness of the structure
music.
of the music, right? So that if and when I see a project, when I design the furnishings, those furnishings are made where they can be the future antiques of the world. Because my furniture is not furniture that is something that you build and then it's replaced within a short period of time. The furniture in the homes that I do, really, it's classic, and it doesn't date. Because I do a lot of mentoring and I do teach as well. So I always tell my young students, I've got some wonderful Chinese students that intern with me and actually work for me as well. I always tell them, design and think for 50-year blocks. And do you know who told me that? Mr. Hilton Sr., Conrad Hilton Sr.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was doing the first 7 houses over in the Brentwood Country Estates with Barry Hilton, who was the developer. Rick Hilton was the real estate agent. And Mr. Hilton Sr. once told me, he said, you know, Miss Costa, he said, I like you because your work is classic. And I said to him, Mr. Hilton, what is your message? And he said to me, whenever you're designing 50 or 100-year blocks, think of it as the future. And that's what I do. So when you look at my work, some of my work could be 20 and 30 years old, but it looks like I've just done it today.
So you have the very future thinking and the modern thinking, right?
With technology.
Even elegant, even classic.
Yeah.
That's good.
Blended, which is today, you have to understand technology, and doing smart home technology, and that's very important. So in all of the projects that I'm doing, I'm designing it all so it's all controllable from the cell phone or from the iPad, and you can control the security is highly important to me. I work with affluent clients, Joey, and my homes, whether it's a home or a building or whether it's a boutique hotel, people are security conscious. So they want to know that themselves, their family, their children, everybody are going to be safe. It's my work encompasses taking into account to make sure that everything is done so that the home is safe.
That's a top one.
If you understand it, it's not tough. It's just understanding the technology.
Yeah.
I have the best consultants in the world that I work with, and so I call upon them when I have a big project and we need to cover everything, whether it's safe rooms. I mean, there's some very serious business going on throughout the world, and you need protection, you know.
Okay.
People need
Okay,
protection.
our community are talking about the beautiful life. You see, relationship are very important to your beautiful life between your friends, a family, between each other. So music is very important kind of bridge in your relationship to the people. I like you make a lot of friends here in the world because you design. And could you tell me what's a special relationship to all the kinds of friends, even your clients? Which one really make you feel beautiful life or interesting? You make the friends with somebody.
I think the first trait that one should have is to be an interesting character, and one that is of integrity and shines.
Okay.
You have to have a positive outlook.
Well, of course.
Joey, you know that saying, the glass is half full or half empty. You've got to look at life as it's half full. You know that that when somebody says to me, Joey, and this is why I have a lot of friends, when somebody says to me, how are you today? Do you know I always say I'm always great? Mm-hmm. Now, I might not be having such a good day, but does everybody want to hear that?
No.
No. And everybody's busy with their own lives and their own problems. And do you know what it does? It lifts somebody up when I say, you know, I'm having a great day. How about you? And maybe you're the first person that has asked them all week, how are you? You know, and I love to say to people, you look great.
Well, I know you are very, you know, making friends with people. I know a lot of even rich people, famous people trust you. How you build your reputation and credit to people?
Oh, well, it proves you only have a short amount of time. First of all, I think in life you have about, 30 seconds before someone makes an opinion on you, whether they like you or not. First of all, you have to be liked. Because people, you can look at somebody and you go, I don't really like that person. Why? It's because there's something that's not blending. There's something that doesn't feel well. Either they don't look you in the eye, or you don't believe that what they're telling you is exactly so. And so you kind of have an odd feeling about it. So that's the first thing, is to be creditable. So with my own clients, apart from referral and somebody saying, well, get to know Sandra Costa, I don't know all of my clients. I have clients call me from all over the world, and clients, managers and lawyers, they'll call me to say, will you work for my client, you know? And why do people like me? Because I'm creditable. I am honest. You know, honesty, it's like water and fire. You know, do they mix? At times they can. You know, you can have a beautiful waterfall coming down with fire in front of it, but then the water can put it out if it's not balanced.
Okay.
Right?
So
personality is the same. And friendship is the same. And I work for clients like, look, Mrs. Chow, and another client of mine, June and Peter Koo from Taiwan, fabulous clients of mine. I can use their names because it's all right. I've got other clients that I cannot. I have a non-disclosure with, but they call me 20 years later, 15 years later, to say, how are you?
Cool.
Why? Because
That's
I did a fabulous job, and I have full respect for them and their family. It's very important that I take into account that I think of everything that those women may need as women and businesswomen. And so when and for my male clients too, I do the same thing. I think like a man. When I'm working for one of my very wealthiest male clients, I have to become him, only for a certain amount of time. I have to think as he would think to make sure that everything I'm doing for him is right for him.
Good.
As I do for my female clients, very powerful women clients I work for, who need everything thought of, and there's no room for any mistakes. There's not.
Okay. We can give you another nickname. We say Mrs. International. I know you're Sandra Costa. Okay. Hello, this is Zhou Zhenxuan, Beautiful Life. Right now we're interview the very famous world-class designer. She's with the beginning of the designer of the fashion, and right now she's a world-class famous design of the construction and the building of designer Sandra Costa. So you know why? I want to say you are international. That's why I call you Mrs. International. So what do you think about between the relationship between the China and the United States? I know you've been to China many times. And how do you feel? How different of the Chinese people and here? I know you are American right now. As an international designer, how do you feel relationship between China and United States?
Well, there is no comparison to the culture of China. It is so deep. It is where humanity started. It is unbelievably moving to be in parts of China, of which I've been very fortunate to travel and work there. America is a new country. We have a lot to learn. and we're doing that. And as far as the balance between the two, I think there's tremendous opportunity for the United States to continue to work with China. They have already and they will continue more because they cannot afford not to. This is an extremely important time for China to even bridge with the United States more than ever before. And I think with this new election and the new president-elect, I really do feel that there will be even more greatness that will come out of the whole union. And we've all been concerned about what is going to happen, but I don't think whether it's China or the United States, nobody wants to let go of the greatness of both countries.
Yeah, I agree.
Us being new and China being old, and then the bridge that brings them together.
I agree, but I want to know, you don't speak the Chinese or you speak English, so how you make your Chinese clients or Chinese people, when you do business with them, you design with them, you have signed contract because you are foreigner to the Chinese people clients, how you try to make them trust you? That's my question.
I don't have to try and make them trust me because a Chinese client is no different than other clients from other countries. But I will go to the Chinese client because you've asked me about the Chinese client. I do not speak Chinese, but I do have body language.
Body language, that's good. That's international. That's universal language.
Yeah, that's universal. And of course, I also have Chinese assistants who work for me who are able to do my translating, and Melody Fu, who actually worked for the Chinese government in negotiations. She is able to do, she's a lovely girl, she lives in Atlanta, but she's able to do translation and put the contracts into place. I've got assistants so that I could be sitting here and they'll be translating to me. What's interesting about my personality is that I will be in a room with everybody, and you've seen me, Joey. I'll be in a room having a luncheon, and we were there, and there were 10 Chinese, everybody was speaking Chinese, and the way that I interact with everyone, you'd think that I understood every word.
No.
And for some reason, I do.
Oh, really?
Because I'm also watching body language, and you can just give me a few words, and I'm feeling the rest of it. Now, am I able to understand word for word? Oh, of course not. But I'm getting, when you tell me this is the mayor from Arcadia, I understand when he's talking and he's pointing and I understand. So,
interesting.
Yeah, but trust comes in as soon as I put my pen to paper and I go from contract stage, which I need my interpreters, but then I go into design development. The words are spoken for themselves because everybody understands.
Anyway,
design,
you use your
personality,
positive personality, to match all the atmosphere, all the match people can feel you are honest, you are professional. That's why they trust you, they give you the business to do each other together. Okay, so
may I also say, it's a very small world, and I've been in business a long time. So if I wasn't doing a good translation job with my Chinese clients, I wouldn't be sitting here with you, because you already know about me. You already know the clients that I've worked with, and I wouldn't be able to mention if I didn't have the kind of solid reputation that I have for doing a good job, a job well done. Yeah.
Good. So very thank you for coming to our Zhou show at Good 5.
Yes.
So before our show is over, I want our world-class designer Sandra Costa will speak to our audience to tell them what it means, beautiful life. What do you want to give their greeting?
Well, I would like to say how much I've enjoyed being in your country, how much growth there's been in the years that since I've been going to China, which started in, I think, around about 1996. What I've seen with the people, so wonderful, and how I've been received there has been really a pleasure. And I really look forward to being your eyes and ears to the United States and to Beverly Hills and to the design of America through Joey. And I look forward to seeing you again.